guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're doing my not so scary readathon recommendations. Just in case you missed it, I announced the readathon not too long ago. I will link that up here in the cards for you guys. I have some recommendations for you based on the challenges in that readathon in case you need a little bit of help to get you started if you plan on participating. The readathon runs from October 5th through October 11th. There are 5 reading challenges and 3 activity challenges, so we're just going to dive right in. So I have not read all of these, but I know that they will work for the challenges, so just kind of keep that in mind. Challenge number 1 is to read a book with fall colors. We are going to kind of skim over this one because I feel like it's fairly self-explanatory. Red, orange, brown, and then you can also do Halloween colors like lime green and purple and black and even white if you want to do that. So there you go. Challenge number 2 is to read a book set in a magical school or a paranormal school. So I have quite a few for those. I'm very excited to talk about them. I'm going to leave off the one that I am choosing so you guys can see that in my TBR in just a couple days. But we've got a couple choices here. So this is Immortal by Gillian Shields. This is set in a gothic, kind of like a castle. It's in modern times, but it has like old-fashioned rules and things. Technically the school is not designed to be paranormal or magical, but magical and paranormal things happen. I read this first book in one day and it has more to the series that I did enjoy, but I didn't like them quite as much. We have The School for Good and Evil. This is book 3 because my other book's in the other room. I read the first 2 of these and absolutely loved them. It's a middle grade series about a school for good and a school for evil and 2 best friends that wind up going to opposite schools, and you get to just like follow them around and learn magically things and also deal with friendship and romance, and it's really good. I need to carry on with the rest of the series. These next 2 I haven't read. So we have Evernight by Claudia Gray. I think this is like a paranormal school with werewolves and vampires. I'm not entirely sure, but that is what I have heard. I have read a couple things from Claudia Gray that I really enjoy, and this has been on my TBR for like a really long time, so I need to check it out at some point. Then we have Hawthorne, which I think this is the first in the series as well. I think this is a paranormal school with romance. If anything, it's like a dark gothic school. It looks really cool. I think there are 3 in this series and I have 2 of them so far, so that'll be a good option. You could also go with Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I know this is like a murder mystery set in a school. I don't think it's too scary, so it'll still work for the readathon. I think it's like a little bit spooky, but not scary. So don't count me on that, but that's what I've heard. I know a couple of my friends are going to be using this one as well. You could also go with Vampire Academy. I still haven't read this series. I've heard amazing things. You could go with Nevernight if you're wanting to go more of an adult route. That's kind of about a school for assassins. It's very dark. It's very intense. There's a lot of like really intense things that happen. It's not scary at all, but it definitely has more intense and heavy subject matter. It's really fantastic, and it's a school setting also. You could also go with A Deadly Education. I know this is Naomi Novak's new book, which I think is out right now, and it's about a magical school for adults, and that sounds incredible. Challenge number 3 is to read a book set in the woods or a forest. To me, the woods and the forest kind of give me all of the fall and Halloween vibes, so I picked some that are not scary but still kind of heavily set in those kind of settings. So we have one of my very favorites, The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. Our lead character Hazel and her brother Ben, and they have kind of grown up around this fairy boy that's in a coffin in the woods, and it's kind of like known that the fae are on the other side of the town, and kids kind of play around it, and then one day this fairy boy wakes up. It is kind of a prequel to the Cruel Prince series, but it's very, very heavily set in the woods and the forest, and I just absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. Then we have Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin. This one is heavily set in the woods because they live in the woods, and this is a retelling on Snow White and Rose Red. There's 2 sisters. There's lots of magical things that happen. This is a middle grade series. Has the most beautiful illustrations in it. It's such a lovely book, and it's very short, so it's perfect for a readathon. Very much a fairy tale vibe. Then I have Hunted by Megan Spooner. Sherwood by Megan Spooner would also work. They're also both set kind of in the woods, especially this one. And this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. You could kind of technically use this for an upcoming challenge that I'll talk about in a second as well. It's about Eva, who has grown up like in the woods, and she's followed like her father's lifestyle, and she knows how to hunt and kind of like help take care of her family. and just a lot of magical things happen. We've got the Beast in here. It's heavy on the romance. It's very, very good. You get alternating chapters from the Beast, which I really enjoyed. They're really pretty as well. It's one of my favorite retellings and I really love it. Then we have Uprooted from Naomi Novak. This is another Beauty and the Beast retelling set, mostly in a magical woods. There are so many magical wood vibes in this. It's probably your best choice. This is adult. It's somewhat okay for YA, but it does have some sexual themes in here. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It's on the longer side, so maybe not the best for a readathon if you're a slow reader. But the romance is fantastic. The magic is fantastic. And there's so many different elements in here that I can't even get into it. It's just pure perfection. You could also intercross The School for Good and Evil because this one is very heavily set in the woods as well. Number 4 is a not so scary Halloween book, and honestly I'm gonna skim over this one as well because pretty much all of these apply. I really look at middle grades when I'm looking for not so scary like Halloween style books, so you can also check out The Gates by John Connolly. It's about a little boy who discovers that his neighbors have opened up the gates of hell. Sounds scary, but it's not. It's just really fun and quirky for Halloween. You could check out The Witches by Roald Dahl. This is also one of my favorite Halloween books. Again, about a little boy and his grandmother, and they discover like witches are real, and then all of these crazy things ensue. There's a movie that goes along with this as well. Challenge number 5 is to read a Disney villainous backstory. Since this readathon was basically inspired by Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I thought that reading some kind of Disney-esque book would be great. You can read books that are actually based on Disney things, or you can read just a retelling of a fairy tale character if you want for this challenge. Kind of choose with it what you will. So both Hunted and Uprooted would also work for this because they're kind of backstories on Beauty and the Beast, and technically Beast can be considered a villain. I have a bunch of these Liz Braswell and Jen Kalanita books that are based on twists on fairy tales. So like Straight On Till Morning is What If Wendy First Traveled to Neverland with Captain Hook, and then we've got A Whole New World and What If Aladdin Had Never Found the Lamp, and things like that. So they're not necessarily mainly focused on the villains, but it's kind of like what happens if the villains win. We have Isle of the Lost, which is a middle grade series based on the Descendants. This is the first book in the series, so it's based on the Disney villains' kids, so this one could technically work. You could do any like fairy tale backstory that you wanted. There's also like Poor Unfortunate Soul is part of a series of Disney villains, and there's like a bunch of different like Disney villain ones that you could go specifically for that, or you can just pick a fairy tale with a villainous backstory. So I hope this was helpful in giving you guys kind of some ideas. I know a lot of us have like spookier and creepier reads. Then we might have a hard time finding things that aren't like scary, but then we want to kind of read something themed and festive for fall. So let me know if you guys are participating down below in the comments and what you plan on reading. Stay tuned for my TBR because I'll be mentioning things that I didn't mention in this video. And I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side. Bye!